What's in the box?
Not till you give me the
What's
gun.
in the box?
Give me the gun.
It's me.
No!
It's one small step for man.
Hold on to your butt. The universe is in us.
For science!
What's up, science team? I'm Nick Uhas, host of Science Show, Nikipedia, and lover of science. We're back looking at the science behind the magic and monsters of the mobile RPG Summoner's War. Today, we're joined by Robert Bean from Come To Us. Welcome, Robert.
Good to be here, Nick. We're huge fans of the show, and I wanted to personally come by to introduce the next monster. We were so impressed with your throwing card experiment that we wanted to see if Lushen had any other tricks up his sleeve. For instance, the surprise box ability throws a jack-in-the-box at each of Lushen's enemies, giving each of them a weakening effect, including stun, glancing hit rate increase, and attack speed decrease. It's an effective crowd control move and helps to make Lushen one of the most sought-after monsters in the game. So today we'd like to see if it's actually possible to stun someone using a jack-in-the-box.
Well, it sounds scientific and dangerous, so of course I'm in. Most jack-in-the-box springs are pretty wimpy. Releasing the lid and uncoiling the spring generates less than 10 newtons, so less force than a mousetrap. Also, rendering someone unconscious is not an exact science. Knocking someone out is not necessarily about force so much as making someone's head move violently and forcing their brain to shut down temporarily. An Olympic boxer can generate between 500 and 1,000 pounds of force in a single punch. So for the sake of this experiment, we'll aim for that as a knockout. When you compress the spring like this, it stores all the potential mechanical energy. And when it extends, like this, it releases that potential energy. A spring big enough and strong enough to generate a knockout would be so stiff and so heavy, it would be far too dangerous and impractical to use on the battlefield. Okay, so a handheld jack-in-the-box operated by a simple spring and crank cannot generate 500-ish pounds of force. So we're gonna try to make our own highly dangerous, not really a jack-in-the-box, to see if we can reach around 500 pounds of force. So what I've built here is a compressed air cannon. You may have seen something like this at a sporting event where they shoot t-shirts into the crowd. But this time we're fitting it into a box, a jack-in-the-box. We use an air compressor to fill this reservoir with compressed air. You can control the pressure stored in this reservoir, which in turn will determine the distance that the tube will launch this projectile. Pressing the trigger releases the compressed air, creating an open system which should propel our projectile out of the tube. But let's see if this works. In 3, 2, 1. That worked exactly as I expected. I want to try a couple more things, so let's keep sciencing. We've increased the air cannon to 75 PSI, so let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1. I've totally destroyed this slinky, so we've removed it from the equation. I've filled the air cannon back up with 75 PSI, and we're gonna give it one more shot. 2, 1. Oh, I think the foam ball is changing the way that it flows through the air, which is changing our trajectory. So we're gonna remove the foam ball and we're just gonna be working with this. So let's give it another try. And in 3, 2, 1. Oh my God! Our projectile totally smeared the watermelon. To understand exactly how much force was placed on the melon at the time of being hit, we need to calculate the impact force. This can be done by multiplying the weight of our projectile, 0.21 kilograms, by the rate it traveled squared, 7.56 meter seconds. We then take this number and divide it by the deformation distance, or the distance our projectile went into the watermelon. Since the projectile went almost its entire length into the melon, we can estimate the deformation distance at 16.51 centimeters, or 0.165 meters. When we do all the math, we calculate that the impact force was 72.7 kilonewtons. This means that the impact created a force 35 times that of gravity. We certainly delivered a knockout punch. We were successful shooting just our projectile at the watermelon, hitting it. Now we want to see what happens when we shoot it at point blank range. 2, 1. This worked so well. We were going for knockout and we got totally wrecked. There's this little piece of the watermelon that actually has the label of the cap of our projectile stamped right into it. In fact, it's the exact same size, meaning it pushed right through the watermelon. In terms of this experiment, it was a total success. I would say that the Jack-in-the-Box air cannon is a very well-equipped weapon for the battlefield. Lushen, that joker, has an ace up his sleeve.
That's going to do it for this episode, but make sure to check out all the great experiments behind the magic and monsters of Summoner's War in our other episodes.
Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which experiment was your favorite.
Don't forget to subscribe to Summoner's War and our partners at Skybound Games.
And we'll see you really soon.